Now, in this world of AI, where AI is looking for the human being behind the brand, the person that's been doing the thing for a long period of time, especially in this world of AEO, answer engine optimization, like it or not, your narrative is going to be told. Do you want to be the author of your narrative, especially with AI? Or do you want someone else to be able to write your story? I want to be the author.
Vulnerability is absolutely essential for you to stand out and actually break through. Whatever your line is between now it's too much, I'm feeling uncomfortable, wherever that I'm totally uncomfortable and I'm comfortable, that's the line that we need to stand on. And if you don't do that moving forward, you are going to blend in.
Welcome back, everybody, to Humanize Your Brand. I am Joshua B. Lee with my amazing wife, Rachel B. Lee.
What's up, everybody?
And of course, the dog that will not be on camera, the prince himself.
Prince B. Lee. If you are listening on audio, go to the YouTube so you can see this little precious.
And let us know. I mean, we always talked about making Frankie his own Instagram channel. I don't know if Rachel ever did that.
No.
When we talk about personal branding, should your dog have a personal brand too, right? I mean, Prince is definitely wanting to make sure his brand is known.
I don't have time for a dog channel. I barely have enough time for our channels.
But I mean, come on. I mean, that's we talk about personal branding. So many people put time in for their animals that forget about themselves.
If you are focused on your animal more than yourself, this episode should hopefully make you think twice about that. So our team wanted us to talk about where we've been with personal branding. I put that in quotes because I think that people are starting to maybe understand what it means, or it's kind of becoming like a real hot topic versus us just saying it, and where we've been and where we're going with 2026.
Yeah.
And some of the things that we are seeing, the things that we're doing with our personal brand.
Well, I mean, here's the biggest shift that I see. I mean, I continue to talk to people when we jump on a phone call. We were told for the last decade not to build your personal brand because, especially at least to entrepreneurs, right? To business owners. Don't build your personal brand because then your business is relying on that. And build your business brand because, again, if you ever need to step back away, and that was great for then, but now in this world of AI, where AI is looking for the human being behind the brand, the person that's been doing the thing for a long period of time, especially in this world of AEO, answer engine optimization. See, y'all, I try to go in here, I try and drop a little bit of knowledge. This one over here is making faces at me.
Listening.
She should be listening because it's quite important. So,
dude, it's Friday.
It's Friday. Okay, well, everyone, guess what? Even though it might be Tuesday or Wednesday for you, it's Friday for Rachel. So, Rachel's personal brand started off as a corporate person working the ladder and, trying to climb her way up. And then she found me. And then she left corporate. And then she was like, you know what? I'm fine being Mrs. Joshua B. Lee till I don't need you anymore. True story. And now...
where are you going with this?
And now she wants to run her own personal brand. She has stepped out of my shadow and now...
My shadow? Oh my God. No.
And now
here's the thing.
And now everyone goes, oh, wow, I met Rachel. She's amazing. I'm like, I see why, and I'm like, yeah, exactly. She's too good. And so, I don't want anyone to know about her because it's my little secret.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up about when we met and I was getting my MBA and was the employed professional. And that was...
I don't think anyone would know your personal brand when you're at the end of your MBA.
Right. No, well, first I was Rachel Braunstein. And of course you have a reputation and you're recruiting and
party girl.
Well, I mean, I hook 'em and go Badgers. But when you're focused, when you're a job seeker or you're an employed and professional, you really aren't thinking about your your representation of yourself. You're very much thinking about your representation of yourself at your company so that you can get promoted and get those bonuses. Like you're not thinking about necessarily, oh, how am I showing up online? What would it look like when I do need to find another job? Or even more so, if you wanted to leave your job and do your own thing.
Or if you're meeting a girl at the bar and the next day she does a massive amount of research on you online and how are you showing up and are the things that you're telling her when you meet her that night
Exactly.
true or not?
Yes. Entrepreneurs are much more, just because we, to that thing that you were just saying around, it used to be the company, focus on building your company brand. I think that for entrepreneurs, though, it's always been about first you, because you're the
Yeah,
entrepreneur. People bet on you.
but they did that, but then people were so worried because you had like Tony Robbins, like Tony Robbins was the brand. And what if you pulled Tony Robbins out? Or you had whoever else, like I don't know why, for some reason he's the one that popped in my head. Well, you can't have anything else other than Tony Robbins or John Maxwell,
And I think that's
or
still,
these
yeah.
things like that. And so and then they were like, well, I want, and then I remember like as Tony started shifting and like his platinum group, like you paid access $100,000 a year to get access to Tony, and then he tried to pull himself away, and people were like, "The hell am I paying $100,000 for?" Tony's not even there half the time because he was trying to let his company run, and so like that's where these shifts. You didn't mean to. It's just kind of how it happens. People were like, "Well, I don't want to get stuck having to be the one that answers every phone call, gets on everything, and I can't scale that way."
And I think that's actually one of the big conundrums that when I'm on sales calls or just talking to our current client, that line is a challenge. And going into 2026 and beyond, I think that balance is always going to be hard because when
The line is balance is bullshit, honey. You got to read my book more. Come
we're
on,
not
you
wrong,
totally missed the book.
that especially in the entrepreneurial world. And so fine, let's use Tony Robbins as a, big coach and making.
No, okay, look, no, hold on. This is fresh. I know we're not supposed to talk about things, but there's a big shakeup at Apple right now because Tim Cook is talking about retiring and things like that, and the future of Apple is at stake. So, I mean, like people like that, I mean, like when we look at the corporate world that created brands that we all know in our household names, something like that, it does affect in that world too. Same thing. How many people were scared when, why am I forgetting it? Bill Gates left and Satya took over
Yeah,
with Microsoft. So there are certain corporations based on the heads and how well they're known.
for sure. For sure. Yeah. I
Richard
mean,
Branson, things like that.
of course, like at the end of the day, especially if a company has been strong growth for many, many years and they're doing super well, and then a CEO
Elon Musk.
leaves or whatever,
I just want to say, like, it's not just the entrepreneurial world too. It does play on both sides.
it does play on both sides. The entrepreneurial world has a different, it's different.
Well, yeah, because
It's
I mean,
different
most times it's a
because
one person team pretending to be 200 people behind the scenes, and it's not reality.
yeah, it's a small business.
Yeah,
Most entrepreneurs, business owners are running small businesses. There's
yeah.
what, 30 million small businesses in the US. And do you know what? Almost 50% of I just read this stat from Create and Cultivate, almost 50% of the new businesses in the US this past year were women founded.
Well,
So
high
women,
five.
I know.
Look at
So
that.
women are starting to become a really, really, really big piece of small businesses in the entrepreneurial world, which is amazing.
Let's go, girls. No,
Okay.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, let's
Wrong.
not
Too
do that.
much.
It was very Shania Twain of you, though. Yeah. So, I mean, that I think that
It's
line,
not girls, it's women.
I think that line is going to continue to get blurry and challenging. Like, if you are in a position where you've been building your business as Rachel B. Lee, I mean, we are building it as Stand Out Authority, and it's Rachel and Josh. And a lot of times people want to work with us.
We had that recently on a client call.
Right. And they're expecting to work with us because we are a small business and we are getting on sales calls and all those things. And then we're like, well, it's our team that's going to get on these calls.
But
And
this
so they
is
need to have
where
faith that we're training our
I
team.
think this is where clarity needs to come in too, because I want, if someone wants to work with you or wants to work with me directly, that opportunity is always there. but there's a higher cost for that, right? And that's where you have to be able to value your time if they want that. And then you also have a team, like you said, is trained very well, which we do. So this is where people have to understand, yes, build your personal brand, but there's different levels of engagement.
Yeah, it's making me think of I had an interesting call with a friend, AJ, from Rich Relationships, and she is like, she's
And
in
who runs Rich Relationships?
Selena Sue.
Woo.
And AJ's, she does amazing with authors and does these really intense retreats and book writing. Like if you want to write a book and go deep, like she's whatever, that's her thing, right? And the website where she's been driving and making a lot of money is to AJ Harper. It's to her personal brand site. And
That's, I think, the
so, but this is what this is, and people, but she has, that's why she went from one-on-one work to group, and now she only, but part of what we were talking about is like, you know, what does it look like to not say you're working with the AJ? What is the brand, that group called, right? That author collective. She has a couple different programs, right?
yeah.
And moving away. And so some of that thinking is the customer journey that we're taking people on. And that uh, that makes it very real to me when somebody's kind of like, well, what do you mean? Like, what is this personal brand? When I come to me, I'm like, well, what's your offer? What are your goals? What's your offer? Who are you going after? Kind of goes back to these like really core principles of marketing strategy. And we have another client, Scott for EVP at a big company, but he's also got his podcast and he also has his scottdanner.com. And so we're always trying to toggle and work with people to bridge these lines. And I think that you have to tell the full story to your audience and make it clear. And I think that is where it's very fuzzy right now, and where I see it becoming clear, hopefully clear for people, because as you've talked about this AEO, answer engine optimization, and how people ultimately, personal branding is about connection,
Yeah. Conversation.
building trust and conversation and connection through a real human, that all of us have, like, and we're feeling this. These are what people are talking. We have to get clear on what we're saying, who we're connecting to. Everyone that we're talking to is saying, I need to get out there more. I've been behind the scenes. I need to get out there more. Need to be more visible online. People need to, people very established are saying, coming to us because they're like, I can't be
Yeah.
behind anymore.
I mean, look, I did the same thing. I mean, when you look at earlier on in my career, I've talked about this before,
Yeah.
but I mean, that was it's a different world, right? This is 20 plus years ago. But I mean, I had found, it was about money was the main object. And so I knew I was making more money behind the quote unquote curtain than I was in front of it. I had an opportunity to talk about what I saw with companies like Google and Yahoo and what they were doing. And I was like, dude, no, I'm good. But I was, yes, I was making money, but I wasn't creating impact. And I think that's a difference, right? Like, I think there's a difference between, is your goal to impact, like as entrepreneurs, most of us don't go into this to go, man, I bet I can make a lot of money doing this, because it is the road less traveled. It's not the easy button.
Hmm.
You wouldn't, can you say that now? Because I mean, like when we first met,
I never thought it was the easy button.
I know you didn't think it was the easy button, but I remember you're like, I don't see you working half the time, or what are you doing? And why are you tired?
I still say that.
Why are you tired? And I mean, it's definitely, there has its ups and downs. I mean, you really have to have a goal, a mission, a reason other than just monetary to be an entrepreneur and to be able to do the things that we do. And I think that's where impact driven, and that's where your personal story and your personal brand comes into play. Right? I'm bringing it back.
Yeah, I was hoping we're getting
I'm
back.
bringing it back because again, if you don't have that,
And ultimately,
like, look, I followed the money
I
and I was successful, but I hated my life.
and I think part of that too for you, you were not living authentically. You were not living in your truth,
Yeah.
and living as you unfolded what your truth meant, which meant a lot of releasing in relation your
Yeah.
former, There was a lot businesses you had to let unfold to sort of
Well, and this perception of what I felt everyone else's perception of me was
and what you wanted it to
and
be.
what I wanted it to be.
And when I talk about personal branding and I do my shtick on this, right? It's two sides of the coin. Your personal brand is one, how others see you. And that is so important
Right.
because if you're going to be out there and just give 0 F's and put your finger up and be like, I don't care, and then people don't like you, then you better stand behind that and be cool with that.
Yeah.
The other side of, and that's why the other side of the coin is how you see yourself. So if I'm throwing my big F's up and I'm standing in my truth and I'm standing for impact and I'm standing for service for others and I'm standing for people's rights and I'm standing for the things that I care about, then that's great.
Yeah.
Then you're building a personal brand of impact, of true connection, of trust, of authenticity
Well, you're being 100% real
at a
guy
time.
on and offline. And
Right.
this is what we talk about the kids, right? Like, my son Jade. I'm telling everyone my son Jade. You know my son Jade, but stop now. He's always like, well, I don't get respect, right? I need to, and what do I tell him? I said, look, you have to have respect for yourself first to be able to expect respect from other people.
And
And
you have to give respect to
well,
give respect.
I usually say that's a given. You know, have to give to get. But at the same time, if you don't have it, if you don't give it to yourself first and
Yeah,
show respect for
sure.
yourself, like how do you expect anyone else to respect yourself? So like
Mm.
in this world, people are like, well, I'm not enough, or I can't, no one's gonna the business is what the thing is. Like I don't know if I'm good enough to be in front of the camera. I think that's where it stands, right? Like you've got to be able to love and appreciate who you are, what you've done, what you've accomplished, and be proud of that and understand that people in this world are going to either applaud or be like, they're not enough. And it is what it is because that's how people are. But you have to be able to, as I sit with anyone, I was having this conversation. I'm trying to remember who it was. Might have been Jim Quick when I was talking to him. And I said, look, are you willing to draw a line in the sand? Right? I want who you are, what you stand for, what's going on. Actually, I think it was someone else, but it doesn't matter. But that's the whole thing, right? Like when you are going to stand in your personal brand in this world, people are going to see you and look, like it or not, your narrative is going to be told. Do you want to be the author of your narrative, especially with AI, or do you want someone else to be able to write your story? I personally, I want to be the author.
Yes. Control your narrative. It's one of my key slides in my deck.
What?
Yeah. My God.
I probably should watch one of your webinars.
You. Yeah. You're reminding me too, as just I'm thinking about this, where we're going with personal branding. And so that this conversation feels meaningful to the person that's listening or
It's not just you
watching.
and I having a conversation.
Well, it is that. But a big piece that I've talked about for a while, and we do this naturally, is vulnerability. And I think moving into 2026, that vulnerability is absolutely essential for you to stand out and actually break through. Because what's happening is, and when I say vulnerability, it means sharing the good and the bad. It's really doing storytelling from a place of, I want to share this so that it could possibly help one other person. And
Yeah.
Josh and I do this really well. And we say things about our journey that a lot of people don't want to say. They're scared to say it.
And they
But
don't
we do.
have to. I mean,
They
I
do.
always want
Well,
someone to.
I'm actually saying you have to.
Okay. Okay.
And in the work that we do with our clients, I say we need to press you to the edge. I say whatever your line is between, now it's too much, I'm feeling uncomfortable, wherever that I'm totally uncomfortable and I'm comfortable, that's the line that we need to stand on. And if you don't do that moving forward, you are going to blend in, because with AI and people just not training and honestly just getting really, really good, it's just starting to feel really gray. And
Yeah.
to stand out, you have to actually be black or white. And for you listening today, I think that's what you want, right? You're looking for humanization. You're looking for an edge to you. You're looking for what's next. And we're here to tell you is that vulnerability is actually going to be your superpower. and your story, specifics of your story that are happening are the only way you're actually going to seem authentic moving forward. Otherwise, even making mistakes in your content is
Yeah.
something Josh and I have been seeing.
Well,
We talked to Goldie too.
we're also seeing people that are like faking that too. It's just, it's marketers were always like,
Yeah, we're always going to find.
marketers will always ruin a good thing.
I know.
I am sorry. It
But I
is what it
did
is.
see, though, OpenAI, right? They're making adjustments. Got rid of the M dash.
They're doing a
They
lot of
did a
different things.
hilarious post on Instagram. They're like, "Dear, did you see that? Oh,
No.
you guys." They basically just like took ownership of like the AI, apologizing for overusing M
Well, here's
dashes.
the funny thing though, Rachel. I mean, if you talk to like an English major,
Yeah.
they're like, that's proper language. I do that all the time. So
No, no,
I'm telling you, I talked to someone, they're like, I got my master's in
non
English.
repeat.
I got it. I'm just saying.
I know.
But here's that whole aspect. You talked about blending in, being able to go through. A couple weeks ago, I was at an amazing event put on by a good friend of ours, Kevin King, with 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs. And, I'm going through the whole LinkedIn, as my wife says, shtick. Did I do it, Wyatt?
Yeah, you did say it
Okay,
nice.
there we go.
Okay.
And I said, who here uses AI? Surprise, surprise. Whole room, 100 plus people raised their hand. Said, who here has actually built out their AI persona based on their personal story, their personal brand, what they say, what they don't say, their background, not just their business, but who they are? 2 people raised their hand.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a problem. And that's what we're going to
It's a
continue to be able to see.
must do right now. If you're listening, go do that. What is some of the first things that, well, first of all, you can work with us if you do. No, for real. Like we have a link for our brand launchpad. One of the key bonuses that we have is building out that AI persona for you, which is a very in-depth documentation of who you are, with also our principles of what makes good messaging.
Yeah.
So it's great because you at least can load that up plus our playbook and the things that we give, and you will have a very good foundation in whatever Gen AI tool you use. But let's say you don't want to work with us or can't work with us, then what are some things that they must do?
I mean, I think one of the first things is really to be able to ask the person that's closest to them who knows them well. Like, remember, we did the same thing. Like, why would someone come to you? Right? Like, ask if you were in trouble, what would say, like, if I went to you, Rachel, like, if you were in trouble, why would you call me?
I
What would
see.
that
To
problem,
ask
right?
superpower question.
Superpower questions, things like that. But then you need to be able to kind of go back in and really think about, like, I always love this. I mean, we've had different conversations with so many amazing humans throughout the life of Stand in Authority. And, I think about different people that have had amazing brands, even someone like JJ Virgin, right? Like, I mean, you were able to go through and ask questions that hadn't surfaced yet. And she has an amazing brand. She's one of the most powerful women I know to be out there. And that's that whole piece, right? Like, and I love it because y'all, when Rachel will sit down, and now our team knows this as well too. They're like, okay, tell me about yourself. And they started their company. It's the biggest thing to miss. What do you say? No, no, no. Go back.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same thing with LinkedIn profile.
We go through the origin story.
Yeah.
So, for some of you that are
Or
listening,
hero's journey, things like
you
that.
might you might have some things readily available, bios or whatever, or you might just need to sit and do this. And we actually have a document of origin questions, which you DM us. I will share it with you. If you just went and answered that, where you start to go back, like, what was your childhood like? Siblings? What were the things that you were interested in? What are some of your biggest career highlights? What are the not
Or what
so?
did you grow up wanting to be?
Yeah, things like that,
Astronaut.
as well as a big piece is your personality and voice principles. So, AI itself, when you go to that
Yeah.
personalization, like we were going through, well, you could put like it's candid, it's conversational, like that's like a baseline. But you really need to not pick one that you want to be,
Yeah.
what you truly sound like.
Right.
Right? Because that's a really important piece of personal branding is the personality.
Wait a minute. You don't want to just pick Gary V,
No.
personality?
Oh my God. That's one of the worst things with AI. It's like, I am a personal branding expert and entrepreneur. I want to sound like Rachel B. Lee. Don't sound like
Yeah,
me.
sound like you.
Sound like, I mean, you could say what I like about
There's
this,
ways, yeah.
right? Isn't so so what are the pieces too in training
But, like,
AI?
when you're talking about that too,
Yeah.
I think this is that whole piece, y'all. I don't wanna jump over it. The reason why we're talking about this, being able to tell your whole story, is because most of us, if you've been around for a while, it's you usually have this gap between you and your audience, and the reason why we actually do this is because and I remember having this conversation with Gio, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, people go in like, oh, well, I'm the CEO of Standard Authority. It's like, dude, you weren't born that way. Like, what were you before that? Because now here's your audience wherever they're at, and here's you, and like, oh, Josh, CEO. I don't know. Probably no one thinks that. And here's this gap. And every time I'm like, well, I did this, and this. And then by the time I get back to server at Chili's, they're like, oh my God, me too. I worked at Chili's, right? Maybe I too. And then they can have a commonality. I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine, Jerry, and he was like, "Yeah, I have a person in our group. His very high level entrepreneur training, like only has
Mhm.
like 12 people a year." And he goes, "This person finally came in. He's like, I didn't feel qualified enough for 4 years to apply to be part of your group
Yeah.
because of that gap." And so, and Jerry's like, dude, if I had been able to work with you before and had those pillars of where I started, because I remember Gio was like, so you're telling me I should tell them that I worked, I forget what it is in Canada, but it was like Payless shoe store. I was like, yes,
Mhm.
show these things. And so, like down LinkedIn, when you talk about building a personal brand, start laying out your entire career from your first job.
And that is why we think that building your LinkedIn profile is it's not just about like having a presence on LinkedIn. It makes you think about your story and lay it all out. It's pretty genius and it makes you write a headline, quick synopsis of who you are using keywords, right? And so and that's another great place to start, I would
No, people
say.
don't do that though. They usually just write their headline. They're like
I'm a
CEO of whatever
whatever,
or
right.
founder of,
Right. Right, exactly. But
not the XYZ statement.
these are some ways that if you look at your website, you look at the LinkedIn profile, if you're starting to build your personal brand and really think these are the questions that you need to be able to answer and then be able to feed it into whatever gen AI tool of your choice so that you really start getting that content that is real, but the storytelling piece of it is an everyday journey. There are things happening all the time in your life, and so you need to continue to build that in because personal branding for us is really what we think it's going to be about less broadcasting, more connection.
Yeah.
It's about
Less automation and
less,
more authenticity.
yes, not about giant follower counts. I've actually been seeing quite several of the
Well, micro
amazing
influencers and stuff
micro,
like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've been seeing like some of our great amazing friends on Instagram, but they've been saying, "Oh, today I lost 700 followers. Go me. I said exactly how I feel on XYZ topic." You never would have seen content like that before.
Well, no, because people were
Appreciating
scared.
that don't follow me. Great. I'm standing in my truth. So I think that's going to
Same thing when I had,
continue.
remember I told you about the conversation with my friend Sean as well, who's going to come on as well. And he's like, I said, look, man, I love you. You got like 500,000 followers on Instagram. Everyone's like, you're amazing. You're great. Like, dude, you're not pushing the edge.
Right.
If everyone likes your content, it's not, I'm going to tell you that the content's not great.
Yeah.
It's good,
Yeah.
but it's not great. It's not compelling. It's not pushing the edge enough because if you do it the right way, you're going to have a couple haters.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's like one of the like there are a couple big shifts for personal branding and moving on is this piece that Josh just mentioned
Yeah.
here, right? This
Every time I get someone
idea,
that's like, look at his hair. Ugh."
yeah, just like not content just for content's sake, but content to create conversation and a connection with exactly who you want to be your people
Yeah.
and then repel the people that you don't. That's a big
In
one
and not in a negative way, right? Like we don't want to repel. Like there's polarizing, and this is what I always want to make sure too, because there's people out there
that are polarizing
that
and
are
has intention.
polarizing, that polls that
And
like
have
are
bad
putting people
values.
down.
Yeah, no.
I'm not. We never want you to be polarizing in a way that's actually going to put someone down or hurt someone. Just that they're going to go, not
We
my cup
just
of tea.
yeah, we want you to have an opinion
Yeah.
because that's thought leadership. The other piece that is this just volume game, more content, more followers, more impressions. That's not the name of the game anymore. It's about value.
Yeah.
And that's that quality over quantity. And, I was with the ladies last night, and I only have a couple thousand followers on
Rachel's
Instagram.
in her book club.
Yeah. And I always think to myself, like, I don't like the perception of me on Instagram must not be like, because I don't have, tens and thousands of followers, but I have
You have tens of followers.
I have 3,000 whatever
Yeah.
followers. But one of the women was like, "Oh my gosh, I've been following it. I love your content." And talked to somebody else yesterday that has been listening to our podcast, Andrea. And I just it made me smile, right? Because it felt so good that I'm putting my heart into it and that there is people listening. Like, you're not just shouting out there there
But it's
is
okay.
an
Like, even if there's one
audience.
person, we talk about
That's
that,
what I
right?
mean.
So,
Like, there is that one
I mean,
person,
as long as we know that our parents are watching, I mean, that's all.
and they don't. Actually, most our closest people are never going to see or watch this episode, actually, which is another thing. But and then I think we covered all the
I think
things.
you got it.
Yeah,
I mean, I think this
yeah.
is the
I
biggest
think we
thing
landed
now.
this plane.
It's a journey. It's not a sprint. And your life's been a journey. And every single part of your life is just like your fingerprint. It's unique to you.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to allow you to stand out in this world, especially now more than ever in this AI driven world and where we're going. And
Yes.
and that's what's going to be able to show your value and who you are and how you can not only serve yourself, but to be able to serve others in this world. So continue to be able to show up, show your, I mean, like, again, this is where we live in Austin. Like, keep Austin weird, right? Like,
Yeah. Show your weird.
show your weird, show your special, show your
Whatever it is.
little
your
dog sleeping on, you just showed his butt.
All right. Great conversation. This was fun. We'll see you next episode, y'all.
Bye, everyone. If today's episode sparked something in you, you don't have to keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who's building something with heart. And hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.
If you're ready to humanize your brand now and show up with soul, grab our free guide, 3 Hidden Signals, at standoutauthority.com/3, the number 3, hidden signals. We'll see you soon.